Have you ever worked one day and someone just comes in with a gun in your store and say, "This is a robbery"? Well, that's what happened to me. Yo, what is going on, TastyCandy fam? Hope everybody's doing good today. Today's background, we're just gonna be playing South Park. And then today's topic is about the time I got robbed by gunpoint at my workplace. And if you guys haven't yet, smash that like button and subscribe so you guys can see more content in the future. Alright, let's get right into it. So the place I worked at was actually at a phone company called Sprint. The job there wasn't a bad place to work at, it just wasn't the best location. You will sometimes get like a homeless person who just comes and stay in the corner, and you always wonder like what they're doing, right? But once after they leave and you go and clean the phone, turns out they're actually watching porn. And then on the other side, you will also get a crap ton of scammers too. The sad part about that is that the scammers, they're not even really good scammers. They legit are so freaking obvious. Like, bruh, if you're gonna scam us, at least put in the work. Like, for example, the scammers would come in, never make eye contact with me, doesn't care about like new deals or anything, and just ask for 8 new iPhones. And then when it comes time to make them their account for Sprint, it actually requires their social security number. And then the biggest red flag is when they take out a piece of paper from their pockets and read you their social security number. And it's okay if you don't know your social security number, that's fine. A lot of people don't even know it, but it's just one red flag after another. It's just that the vibe that you get from them, you can just tell that they're really nervous and they're scamming you. They're trying to scam you. And like most of them, they always get declined. But they have the audacity to come back the very next day and try it with a different employee. Well, now that you guys know a little bit about my workplace, let's actually get to the real story here. I've always worked mid-shift hours, which was 10 to 6. I really like those hours because it matches my sleeping schedule. I could stay up all night and I don't really feel like shit when I wake up in the morning. But apparently we were short-staffed, so my manager was like, yeah, you have to do the night shift. I was really bummed out because I was always the lucky one that didn't really have to do the night shift. The only reason why I didn't want to do the night shift is because, you know, it was pretty sketchy. It's a sketchy area. But it was only for like one night, so whatever. And then I also believe that this was taking place on a Wednesday and it was my first night of closing. And then the people who were closing that night was actually my manager and my cousin. We'll just call him Justin for now to like protect his identity. But it was pretty crazy. Justin's side of the story was pretty interesting, and I'll tell you a little bit about it in a bit. All I have to say is that everything just worked out for the best, and you'll see why. I also want to clarify that Justin isn't really a closer because he leaves at 7:30 while me and my manager close at 8. Nothing really happened in the morning up until closing time, so I'm just gonna skip that part. So that day was actually pretty slow, but a customer came in an hour before closing time and I helped her. She was actually a pretty cool person. She's a white lady and she's in her late 50s. She came to upgrade her iPhone, I believe. After she came in, we just talked. I showed her the new iPhones and explained to her the new features and stuff like that. The upgrading process is actually pretty easy, but explaining and selling other products is the part that takes a little bit more time. I spent roughly around like 50 minutes explaining the new features, showing her the new selections of iPhones as well as the phone cases. As we were getting closer to closing time, my manager didn't work with anybody, so he went to go take down the display phones. And as he did that, like 2 minutes passed and I looked at my phone to check what the time was. It was 7:55 and we closed in about 5 minutes. And at every station that you work at, each station is also given a drawer where you can place your phone or any items that you have in there. And at every station, I always place my phone in the drawer because I like to play music. We have a speaker in the store that plays music and my phone is connected to it. So it's just always been like a habit where I put my phone in the drawer without thinking about it, because if my phone's gone or the music stopped playing, then I know that somebody took it. After placing back my phone inside the drawer, I just continue helping my customer. And then all of a sudden, 3 people came in. It was really sketch that these people will come in at the last moment. And I'm not really a person who likes to judge people by their appearance, but these people look really sketchy. So I'm gonna explain to you guys the best I can on their appearance. So the people who came in, they were black. And the 2 ladies who came in, they were fat, and I mean fat, like behemoths. The guy who came in, he was pretty skinny. He was wearing baggy clothes. When the guy came in, he didn't look at us at all. He actually went to the right side where our bathroom was located at. He just went in there, checked around, looked around, and I didn't think of anything about it. And then one of the women just asked me out of the blue, like, hey, can we transfer our number from Metro PCS to Sprint? Because I was still working with my customer, I didn't really want to answer them because I already knew they weren't gonna buy anything, so I just decided not to answer them. And then my manager did answer them and say like, oh yeah, you can, do you guys need any help? And then they replied like, we don't need any help, we're just looking around. And then about like a minute that's been passed, the guy came out from the bathroom and then the girl saw him and they decided to leave. And then not even a minute passed, all of a sudden, these two people came in with masks, with guns, and in that moment, I knew.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
I should have never taken this mother night shift that my mother manager told me to take. But it's too damn late and I just put my hands up. As soon as I saw them, I put my hands up. I didn't say a single word. I just already knew that it's gonna go down. And right when they walked in and everything happened, everything just slowed down. And I mean, it slowed down. Everything was in slow motion. I saw the face my customer gave me. She was kind of confused because she was like, why do I have my hands up kind of look? And then my manager was just shocked. He was just in the corner shocked. And then the two robbers just said, this is a robbery. Put your hands up if you guys don't want to die. They didn't scream or yell. They said it pretty calmly. At that time, I wasn't really scared at all. I just put my hands up. I looked at them and I'm like, wow, it all makes sense now. The three people who came earlier, they were just scouters. They just came to check if there were a lot of customers or if there's a cop anywhere near. And then if there's none of that, then, you know, the robbery is gonna go. Now here comes the life and death choice that I have to make. Just like the bank, there's always a button where you can press and contact the police if anything bad happens. The two robbers was pretty far away and I know that I still had enough time to press the button without them noticing. It's hard to explain, but even though time kind of slowed down, in my mind, it was actually thinking pretty fast. So what's going through my mind right now is that I have two options. I can either press it or don't press it. Let me get you guys 5 seconds to think about what you should do. Did you press it? Well, what I did was I didn't press it. I didn't press it because in my mind, if I pressed that button and the police showed up, if it was the wrong timing, I'm pretty sure that we would be held as hostages. And when I asked my manager about this later on, he said that he would have pressed the button if he had the chance. As the robbers got closer, they told us to put our hands up and they actually pointed the gun at my manager and forced him to come where I was at too, behind my desk. We both put our hands up and they didn't ask for our wallets or anything like that. They just asked us for our phones right away. What kind of amazes me too is that the customer that I was working with had the same reaction as I did. She wasn't really frightened at all. She was just shocked. As my manager and my customer proceed to give their phones to the robbers, I didn't because I didn't have my phone with me. It's in the drawer. The robbers just said, give me your phone right now. And I just told him, I don't have my phone. You can check me. I don't have my phone. So that's what the robber did. He came and checked my pockets. It wasn't there. It was actually in the drawer. After checking and he couldn't find my phone, he just went back to the other robber and kind of just stayed there. I feel like the guy who checked my pockets, he wasn't really the leader because he didn't say anything. He just kind of did the backup work and supported the guy who was the leader. The robbers didn't waste any time at all. They told me, the customer, and my manager to put our hands up and go to the back room. As we got to the back room, they saw the storage that had locks and they immediately knew that there was phones in there. So they looked at my manager and they're like, what is the code? And then my manager, he just replied, I don't know the code, I don't know. So the other guy pointed the gun at me and he was like, what is the code? And I'm like, I don't know, I'm not the manager. And then they pointed the gun at my manager again and then my manager, oh my god, my manager said that he wasn't the manager as well.
Nani? Bruh.
At this point, in my mind, I'm just like, you mother, are you serious? Just give them the mother code. You are the manager. Why the are you saying you're not the manager? Man. Oh man. And then my manager was just like, I gotta call my manager. I gotta call my manager for the code. I do want to let you guys know that I did know the code, but my manager didn't know that I know the code. I only know the code because one of my co-worker was like the senior rep of the store, so he overwatches us and he knows the code too. But he's lazy, so sometimes he just tells us the code so we can go grab the phones ourselves. And then like finally my manager just gave up the codes to the robbers and they proceed. And then when the storage actually opened, they just told everybody to get down, like get down right away if we don't want to die. They pointed the guns at us, and then the robber was just like, yeah man, that's what I'm talking about, baby, that's what I'm talking about. He saw all the iPhones, and just to let you guys know, each of those iPhones is worth about $800 to $1,000, and there was about 50 of them in there. So the leader, which was the one who was controlling everything the whole time, he was the one putting the phones inside the bag. And then there's the other robber, the guy that was checking my pockets earlier, that I said that he was just like a support. He was just watching the door, and I could tell that he was really nervous. He had a lot of adrenaline and he was shaking. He was just pointing the gun at me, and I could see his hand. He was shaking with his hands too, and that made me even more nervous, because if he's nervous, if we move, if we do something, he will shoot. And as the guy, the leader, is stuffing all the phones into his bag, he was just making all these horny sounds and just like, oh yeah, oh baby. And like, I was just like, dude, that's kind of weird, but at the same time, there's a guy pointing a gun in my face, so I probably shouldn't be laughing right now. But don't get me wrong, I'm terrified right now. Like, I'm just like, dude, I just want to get this over with so I can just go home to my family. So about 2 minutes pass, and that guy's still shoving all these phones in his bags. The support robber was like, dude, we gotta go now. And then the leader, Robert, was just like, no man, we got all the time in the world. And that kind of gave me the chills. The only reason why it gave me the chills was because the leader, he knew what he was doing. He was experienced. He's done this before, and the amount of confidence that he had, it just gave me chills. I just couldn't wait for everything to be over with. Like, every second just felt like hours and hours. They finally got done putting all the phones into their trash bags, and they're ready to go. And the last thing they said was, if you don't want to die, don't look up. And then they left. About a minute passed, that's when we got up. And that's when my manager just went to his office, grabbed the phone, and just started calling the police. And he just told me to go and press the police button. So I did. I went and pressed the police button. After pressing the police button and my manager calling the police, I decided to call the police too, just in case. And the operator was just like, oh, just stay calm, the police are on their way. I don't know why it took them 15 minutes just to arrive, but they finally arrived. They questioned us, basic questions like how do they look like, what are they wearing, how tall are they. And as they're asking all these questions, I just kind of broke down, you know. I just broke down because the adrenaline rush just finally came. But oh yeah, I forgot to tell you guys about something. I forgot to tell you guys about Justin's side of the story. So Justin actually came back. After Justin left at 7:30, he got on the highway and he actually came back to clock out because he forgot to. You have to be at a certain amount of range for you to even clock out and clock in to work. So when he came back, he saw that nobody was inside the store, but he saw my vehicle and he was just wondering like what's going on. Usually there's always one person, one rep in front of the store while somebody's in the back. But in this case, there was nobody in front of the store. Me and my manager were both in the back, laying down, having guns pointed at us. I later asked Justin, and he said that he was thinking about coming inside the store to check on us. Good thing he didn't, because if he did, I think that he probably would have been shot. And I later asked him like, hey, did you see the robbers run out? And he's just like, nope, didn't see them. I left before they came out. So I just thought that timing was just crazy, and it just worked out for the best. But just to get you guys a little update about what happened next after the whole situation, my manager actually contacted the police saying that he has tracked my iPhone and it was turned on, and then the police just never worked with it. They just never did anything. They kind of just ignored it, and that's about it. And then corporate decided to send us a security guard to watch us every night, and they sent this old Asian guy who just slept all day and snored. I just want to say thank you guys for watching this video until the very end. If you guys enjoy this content, make sure to subscribe so you guys don't miss out on the next video. And don't forget to smash that like button and leave a comment down below.